What do you think are your strengths, and what do you think you could work more on in terms of filmmaking, storytelling?
Sure. I think my strengths are in thinking in visual terms. Definitely being able to, put together a series of images into something that's cohesive and affecting, I think is one of my strongest suits. Working with actors, I've definitely been getting better at. It's something that I've wanted to work on, just in general, how to speak to actors, how to talk to them, how to give them what they need, having the confidence, to work with that. In terms of writing, I think my character work is really solid, and my dialogue, I think, is very good as well. It's story structure that is probably something that I'm a little weaker at. Because in terms of like that classic sort of Aristotle or Plato sense, I could stand to, do a little bit more, figuring out about like, what makes this structure work? Because classic structure, works for a reason. And, like as Shakespeare sort of shows, it's the basis of, all good storytelling. So sort of, going away from the young man conventions of like breaking conventions without really understanding the conventions. So that's something that I've definitely been working on. And as, something that I could, I'm a bit weak at.
Why do you think so? Just someone told you that, or you just look at your work and you feel that way, or?
I think honestly, some of the reviews of Broken Ceiling sort of brought that to light, where they're like, hey, like directing's great, the acting's great, like the dialogue, but some of the story points were fumbled to the film's detriment. That is a quote from, I don't know if that's the Hollywood Reporter one.
Oh, okay.
But it's like, okay, yeah, like story points, like figuring out how to keep something propulsive and dramatic, like how do you really do that well? And I think that's something that like, if a writer can do that, then they are golden and they'll get a ton of work. But yeah, it's something that I've had to realize like, okay, like I'm focusing too much on like, the characters and the dialogue, and how do I get a really good sort of story structure in there.
Have you read books on story structure? Are you into reading books on story structure?
Yeah. I have a few of them that are on my list. I am currently reading The Art of Dramatic Writing, which Ron Howard recommends as something that he goes back to. I got a subscription to Masterclass.
Oh, great.
Which I highly recommend. I've learned a ton from Scorsese and Howard. There's a lot of stuff there, which is pretty great. And it's just, the thing that I've found is that I don't want to get comfortable with my knowledge because I don't know everything and I need to keep learning. So reading books that I haven't read and doing these masterclass courses, like keep learning is something that I really need to do because I only want to get better, and I know that I'm not comfortable going like, okay, this is what I do and this is that, because that would make me stagnant and I can't live with that.
Oh, what an interesting take. I like that. Most people wouldn't. Two things I find very interesting: that you're grateful, however painful it was, to get a bad review, and you thank the person for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then not wanting to get stuck in your knowledge.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. I don't know if a lot of people think like that.
Well, they should. I mean, it's something that I knew. I was, like I'm almost 35 and I could sit back and go, well, I've made a feature and I've made a bunch of shorts and like, I know what I'm doing. I'm good. But it's like, you know what? Like, get people to read your stuff and watch your stuff and give you real constructive feedback. Like the worst is when people are just like, oh yeah, that was great. It's like, thank you for that. That feels good. But tell me what I did wrong. What didn't work for you? What could have been better? Because I need to know that in order to get better, because I want to make films at the highest level. And unless I am learning and consistently trying to improve myself, I'm not going to be able to do that. So there is no resting on on my laurels. Like I will read anything and everything. Like right now, even though I'm not in production on anything, it's still the same thing. And I've been doing this for 10 plus years, where I will come home and, I will write something, or I will read something, or I will write and read something, like I did last night. I cranked out a couple of chapters of that, did, one of the lessons on masterclass, and did a revision to the new short that I'm doing, and that's all at night. And I'm lucky that I have the time that I can do that, now. So I try to take full advantage of that.
So you read a little bit from The Art of Dramatic Writing.
Yep.
You watched one part of the masterclass, and then you worked on a short screenplay?
Yep.
Wow. It's pretty disciplined.
I mean, I have to be. If I want to get the most workout that I possibly can, like I have to keep doing that, And of course, like I'm not working all the time. Like you need breaks, you need to watch movies, you need to go out, experience the world.
Absolutely.
You can't just be doing that, because then you're not getting the fuel from the world that can help you, write and direct and think of new stories. Like that's super important. Like right now, I'm not currently in the trying to look for stories mode. Right now I'm in trying to figure out, okay, like what's truthful about, the world of independent wrestling, right? Like that's where I'm in. So I'm in full on sort of research and writing mode, and going to shows and talking with wrestlers and trying to figure that out, so that this short film can really, be something sort of special. And like right now, like it's tough, because I wrote the first draft, and I got a bunch of people excited about it. And that's super exciting, because, they're willing to sort of move heaven and earth and accommodate me, and they want to see this made. And I wrote it, and, I sent it over to Will, and he's like, I have a lot of thoughts, and he's a very good, harsh critic, and he's very honest, and it's totally what I need, it's what I thrive on. And I know he thrives on it too. But it's sort of like right now, I'm like, okay, like, how do I make this work? Does it work? And that's the scariest part. Like I have a draft of something, I have people excited about it, but is it actually going to work? Did I make this premise and there's a core tenet of it that's broken that I didn't realize until now that it's in front of me, And if it is broken, how do I fix that? How do I make it something that works? Or is it completely broken and I shouldn't do it at all and I can't do it at all? I hope that that's not the case, and I don't think it will be. It's just, how do I get more creative? How do I figure out and target what the issues are, and figure out how do I make that dramatically satisfying while sticking to the message, the reason why I'm making that. And that's the biggest point, is you have to know why you're making it, and you have to stick to that. I was thinking of some other ideas about like, okay, I could take it this way, I could go that way. But I found that they were changing the tone, and it wasn't exactly what I loved about it. And it didn't stick to the central reason why I'm so excited to tell this story. So you got to find out like where in the realm of other possibilities can you make this thing better while retaining the reason why and the passion why you're making it.
Did you wrestle in high school?
I did, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I wrestled in middle school and high school. I was super small. I was the smallest guy on the team. I got my butt kicked a lot. I was pinned a lot. I lost a lot. I only won 2 matches in my entire time. But I think doing that really sort of set me up for this job and this career, because there's so many losses that you have to figure out how to take a loss and how to learn from it. And connecting those two things about like losing in wrestling and trying to figure out how to get better, and getting a bad review in a film and going, okay, well, how do I get better the next time? Like those are all connected, so very early on, I think that's where I got this sense of like, tell me, what's wrong. Let me fail. I'm okay with failing. I'm okay with rejection. It hurts, but it doesn't break me and it doesn't stop me. You know, it only makes me want to get better and do better.
And those are public failures too. So
Oh,
you're
yeah.
comparing the two, wrestling and filmmaking,
Yeah.
and learning how, and you got to get back up, and I don't know if you shake hands or whatever, but then it sounds like that's what you've already put into practice.
Yeah, it definitely is.
So you've decided you want to tell this wrestling story, and it's a short film?
Absolutely, yeah. Something that I think could be turned into a feature at some point, but like a short is definitely right for this idea right now. And it's set in the world of independent wrestling, which is something that I love. I love wrestling. I love WWE. I love independent wrestling. So, you know, being able to meet the wrestlers and see what they go through on an independent level, the grind that they have to do, you know, the fact that they have to spend 20 minutes breaking their body, entertaining fans, and then they're done. And right after, they go out to the lobby of the VFW or the small hall that they're wrestling at and have to sell merch. You know, they're dripping sweat, they're injured, they're aching, and they have to, you know, put on a happy face and like, you know, sell some t-shirts and glossies and like take pictures. And it's amazing because like the passion that they have for that, I totally identify with, and I attribute it to the passion that I have for filmmaking.
Did you see the documentary for the story that prompted Fighting with My Family with Paige?
I did not see the documentary. I still need to. I saw Fighting with My Family.
It was cool.
It is really great. Stephen Merchant did such a good job with that.
He's the screenwriter?
Yeah, screenwriter
and actor.
And director. And he's an actor. I think he
was
shows
in the
up
scene.
in it as well.
Yes, hilarious as one of the dads, I think.
Yeah, and I actually, not that I'm in Fighting with My Family. However, when they shoot the very end, you know, the sort of like wrestling match between Paige and AJ Lee, they shot it after an episode of Monday Night Raw, which I was at.
Oh, cool.
So I was able to go and like see them actually shoot, you know, this scene between them and how they only had an hour and how they had to, you know, get the crowd going because the live crowd was there and how they had to shoot specific things and how quickly they worked. It was fascinating.
Yeah, I think it's on YouTube, the documentary. It's really fascinating.
Yeah.